boomstick. It's giving me issues, I tell you what. That's what this episode's about. The dang boomstick. Oh my gosh. All right, so I had to do... I'm kind of embarrassed, to be honest. That commercial. So I don't know if you guys actually saw the pre-clip that played to today's episode, but I was talking with Mark, the owner of Insure a Patriot, a true Christian, a true warrior. I mean, he's got his own freaking podcast. My gosh, I should have even pulled it up. Maybe I'll do that here real quick and give him a plug, because he is on the front lines. Now, he more so goes in, here he is, depth. He goes into history on a level like, it blows my mind. In fact, a lot of it goes right over even my head. Just goes to show how much information we can absorb into this, like in this existence. It's just never ending. And that should actually spark a little excitement. I know it can be overwhelming at times, but isn't that what we're here to do? Just look from our adolescent stages, just learning. It never ends. It's the greatest human character defect I see within adults. The whole stinking know-it-all syndrome. Let's rule that out, because the only thing really feeding into that is pride and ego. But I digress. Let's just have a good laugh, because clearly in that clip, I'm no good at commercials at all. But that aside, let's see. What the? I'm lost over here, folks. Bear with me. I apologize. But to put that aside, it is important that we step forward and support businesses like Insure a Patriot, because that is funding true warriors. Like, I mean, it boils down to your choice. It's your choice whether you want to put forth the energy or effort to get free information with promo code UNMUZZLED or not. That is your choice. And it is your choice to actually send your money to warriors like Mark and his business, or to send money to the Cabal, our enemy, that is turning that money into warfare against us. I mean, that's our choice. In my eyes, it's illogical to support unknown companies and entities in this existence when we have the option. So I'm so grateful for that affiliation. I'm so grateful that he extended a lending hand to all of us with this option. Now, I know it can benefit people on an individual level with their health insurance, their life insurance. There's just greater benefits to be had for businesses. There could be greater savings, package deals. I don't know how it all works. That's for you to find out by giving them a call. Just mention UNMUZZLED and he will take care of you, no doubt. Okay. There's so much to dive into. You know what? I'm going to play a clip first before reading this daily prayer. And folks, stay tuned to the end. My gosh, what's in the Jesus is calling? Maybe it just applies more to me, but it is powerful. In fact, I recommend, more so than relying and hearing, from me that Jesus is calling, get yourself a good daily devotional. This one just works so well for me. I mean, it's so positively written and created, which is fantastic. But I love the biblical references to back up its daily reflections. But just even kind of the idea and visual as though it's a book, it's not a phone, but as though Jesus is calling. And it's just like, am I going to answer that today? Nah, I'm too tired. Nah, I'm too busy. you kidding me? We should be able to sit down everything to answer that call. And more important in this book, with the scripture references, it gets me in the true roadmap gifted to us all for this life. Now get a King James. I mean, I don't mind the NLT version. This is every man's Bible. It does have, what would you even call these? Kind of in between pages, like just in chapters, more in depth, like descriptions and things like that. So it's great. And then the Tyndale Verse Finder, as we have referenced a lot on this podcast, definitely recommend that one. It's awesome. So before we do the 1 minute prayer, there is a clip. Shout out to Caitlin. She sends such powerful, amazing information. And this right here, golly, you play this. Yes, it's from a film, but it's good to use some of these clips because we've been so engulfed in the bread and circus. Maybe through some of these clips, we can expose the light on evil. We could shine the light on some good. This happens to be a very powerful, like it shines a light on both good and evil. And I think it's going to set a good tone for this cast, our day, in fact, maybe our lives. Maybe this is a clip you wake up to for the rest of your life because it is that powerful. So that being said, you know what? I realized I didn't kick off on Instagram, so let me do that. And I didn't welcome you in officially. Welcome to a muzzled chat. Can you tell I'm a little discombobulated today? You know what it kind of boils down to, I feel, is whether or not I had a good night's sleep. Are you sleeping well? Does it seem to be no rhyme or reason? One day you're just functioning better than the next. It's important we get to the bottom as to what is causing that. And I'd venture to say if we actually shut down the frequency warfare that's being rolled out, we would be more regulated. We might even start climbing on function and how we feel each and every day. What a blessing that would be. Okay, so open your heart. This is a powerful clip.
You've prayed and believed your whole life, never done anything wrong, and here you are. You're the nicest person I know. I am the meanest. You have dementia. My life is perfect. Explain that to me.
Yeah, not fair, right?
Sometimes the devil allows people to live a life free of trouble because he doesn't want them turning to God.
True.
Their sin is like a jail cell, except it's all nice and comfy and there doesn't seem to be any need to leave. The door's wide open till one day time runs out, the cell door slams shut, and suddenly it's too late.
You prayed.
That is so
and
good.
believed
Let's play it back.
Your
Let it
whole
sink
life.
in.
Never done anything wrong.
So good.
And here you are. You're the nicest person I know. I am the meanest. You have dementia. My life is perfect. Explain that to me.
Sometimes the devil allows people to live a life free of trouble.
So think about that. We should ask ourselves, are we living a life free of trouble? It truly has been the trials in my existence that has strengthened my faith. Whether through the exposure of evil and drawn near to the light, or sheer defeat, humbling meekness, moments on our knees where we're just seeking help from our loving creator, whether he's there or not. Maybe we'll just be asking all those questions, right? But irregardless, it's like the devil, in a way, knows us enough to prey upon our weaknesses, and whether he's going to do certain attacks or not. So to make this kind of personal assessment, the answer and solution's the same for all of us. In a way, it's even a compliment if we're having all sorts of trials, all sorts of challenges in this existence, because the devil knows you, knows your connection to God and the warrior you would become on behalf of God. So he's just throwing as many challenges to get you just fully engulfed in this mortal existence, to not shine that light to defeat him and push him back that much more. On a grander scale, or even on an individual scale, he's fighting tooth and nail to defeat us individually. This is very powerful. I mean, I could sit here and play it back all
Because he doesn't
day.
want them turning to God. Their sin is like a jail cell, except it's all nice and comfy, and there doesn't seem to be any need to leave.
It's like a jail.
The door's wide open till one day time runs out and the cell door slams shut.
Cell door slam shut. Time runs out. All our time is fleeting in this existence. That humble, simple truth of this existence should have us living entirely like in full understanding as to what is being expressed right here. Are we living in comfortable jail cells to our own detriment? The door is wide open. God gave us the free agency to seek his will, fulfill his will, see the bigger picture. He gave us the commandments. Let's actually fulfill them, more so than project as though we value them and are fulfilling them. I say that because I've been there 100%. I've done a lot of projection in my life, and I still project in ways to this day. It's a forever work in this mortal existence. Caitlin, thank you so much for sending that clip, hon. You are a true blessing and a true warrior for God, and I'm so grateful for you in my life. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today, trip up, be discombobulated. You know, it's just, we do what we can. That's what's important. I don't know. In ways it feels as though this is my calling, which is weird because I've never done the whole online presence. I want nothing to do with this. I wanted to live in the reality of this existence. But I've just seen the impact of these dang blinking boxes and our TV screens and our monitors, and how much trash, how effective evil has been with all that. And I myself, in ways, have gotten wrapped up in it myself. But there's a magnification effect that is happening in this digital space. And I don't know. I just felt called to try magnifying and a shining the light, getting all just pushing back on the ground evil has gained with this space. Thank you all for understanding what we're trying to achieve here and supporting this podcast and sharing it and liking. Can we try to get, because the message from Janet today, I'm so excited. I don't know about you, but it's building every single episode, especially now in this sequel series that Janet and Cynthia created for us. It's just hitting it harder and harder is such a blessing. So if you could get 10 more people on Rumble, a free speech platform, if you could get 10 more people to subscribe to UNMUZZLED Chat, challenge them to do 10. Let's grow this message together. Let's grow this community and gain momentum. All glory to God. So in this daily prayer book, the title, it's under True Strength, and the title reads, Giving in and Getting Strong. This is good. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Deuteronomy 6:5. This very powerful, speaks very strongly to me. As a guy, I once equated love with weakness. I guess that came from the idea of going weak in the knees or falling head over heels. But God, it was finding and accepting your love that challenged my view of human love. Giving up control and giving into your love became the start of true strength in my life. It's 100% the case in my situation. I wouldn't be here any longer without that connection. There's gifts I can't even put words together to describe. And I barely scratched the surface, personally, it seems. Opening up your heart and soul to your love allowed me to lean upon your understanding and will. Standing alone without the structure of faith is weakness. Thank you for a new definition and understanding of strength. Might I add true strength. Amen. So grateful. Okay, there's one last thing before we dive into today's episode. They're right here, folks. They're right here. But we're going to look at something here, and this is unfortunate because I wanted to show you the TikTok and what they're trying to censor. What is the Cabal trying to censor? No, it's not China. The WEF, World Economic Forum, and the Cabal's minions and infrastructure has spoken out and praised China on what they've accomplished. Pretty much a slave nation. A tolerant people that don't lash back out, or it's full control, essentially, is what they've achieved in China. And they want to mimic what they've achieved in China worldwide under their new world order, their new world government. So anyway, I could sit here and try again. Look at this. So unfortunately, instead of resorting to the web page, I have to resort to these screenshots. Oh, why'd it pop up down here? So we got a video here. Community guidelines violation right out the gate. And we're going to play the clip, so you have a good idea as to what. And obviously, yeah, these are lower views because what is this? Our freaking fit TikTok. They keep taking us down. It was immediate. Not a single view. It was just instant. Their AI got it. Why? I played Harari. Nuar Harari's words himself. They can't have that exposure to the masses. Sorry, this video is unavailable. Well, why? So I go into it, video removed, community guidelines. Like what? Usually it will state something, whether it's hate speech or integrity or misinformation, disinformation, but there was no label to it. It just was taken down. Obviously, so why do you disagree? The above information doesn't help me with understanding why my video should be removed. So I clicked that, submitted. It actually got reinstated, but it doesn't matter. And here's the date, November 15th. You can kind of see this is now the video right here. So I just screenshotted that to prove the date. So here it is. So it doesn't matter that it got reinstated. 0 views, completely shadow banned. So they realize like, okay, we can't really take it down because these individuals, all it really represents is what they stated themselves. So how are they going to pull that down under like misinformation when we're just playing what the World Economic Forum has stated themselves? So they reinstate, but they shadow ban it. Why is it? What is it about this video that they don't want the masses to know about? Don't you want to know? Doesn't that trigger something? I mean, I hope I'm not wasting my time here, but I'd really hope that triggers something within you. Like, this should be alarming. That's an infringement on our free speech. I sure hope Trump does liberate us in more of these platforms, and any tyrannical ones, boom, have no business being in this country, because they're now more so it's not some private, it's a communal communication area. It's kind of like the Times Square. You're going to put control on the Times Square? That's freaking outrageous. Get out of here. That shiz doesn't belong in our country. So anyway, let's go ahead and play this clip. What does Harari have to say?
Humans are now hackable animals.
Boom. World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab's puppet, Yuval Harari, saying humans are now hackable animals. Is that, in fact, why you're not getting engaged? Is that why you haven't done your research and properly acknowledged the warfare that is being waged upon? Let's not take offense, because they say it, we're hackable animals. And with all the other things they're doing and effectively getting away with, when we're not acknowledging on the mass scale and addressing that, then yes, the majority of us are more so falling under, it seems, being hacked. The sooner we can acknowledge that, then shoot, maybe we can work our way out of the, how do you say it? All the programming. So deprogramming all the programming. Yeah, there we go. Words, I tell you, I struggle sometimes. What am I even doing talking to a microphone? I question myself almost daily. But it's important that we all just do what we can do. I can't imagine doing anything else, because our health, our futures, everything is on the line right now. So it's important I'm coming from a place of Lyme disease, right? A bioweapon dating back to the 50s, the Cold War, that we paid with our own taxes, that has been swept under the rug egregiously. And chronic illness is a true epidemic, not just in this country, but worldwide. So, yes, I genuinely feel, because they've stated it themselves, we've all become more so hacked. So the question becomes, how do we unhack ourselves? There's some deprogramming to be had. There's some health, nutritional balance to be had. There's eradicating mold, metals, heavy metals, forever chemicals, toxins, parasites, balancing hormones, and then voila. I'd imagine from there, our God-given bodies will ramp up and more so heal themselves on us. I mean, my gosh.
Humans are now hackable animals.
So this ties into our health. They don't want us to know and can make the connections from the health attacks and what they're stating. This all falls under the umbrella of our health. So yet, once again, the alarm bell is going off. They are censoring and shadow banning and suppressing things that could lead us to not just ensuring our health and resilience, but addressing the individuals that are enacting the attacks on them, if that makes sense, because they say it themselves, and it takes no rocket scientist, and you follow and connect the dots. I mean, geez, there's these two clips. I should have queued them up, but if we played Bill Gates, think about it, for those family situations that I was questioning yesterday, if you could just get someone to watch the Bill Gates admitting how they could lower the population 10 or 15% through health services and vaccinations, and then the Dr. McCullough clip talking about the COVID shot being a bioweapon. I mean, maybe you could even couple that with RFK and talking about the real studies in the childhood vaccine schedule. I mean, that in and of itself should trigger any rational brain to want to do more research, and hopefully they'd be inquisitive is to request some of the information you have or where to obtain it, because they can't, if we just allow them not knowingly to source from Google, to source from YouTube, to source from TikTok, these censored platforms, then can't you see the dangers of this censorship? They won't get the whole truth. They'll more so get the propaganda that fed them into believing the safe and effective narrative to begin with. All right, that's enough chit chat. I really went longer than I should have, but let's dive into part 21. Let's freaking go. Can't wait. Right. Only the beginning.
Short recap. We're dealing with mass hysteria about an alleged killer virus that was never isolated by scientists and thus never proven to exist. Period. Yet, brought to you and lied to you by bribed scientists who sold their soul to make you believe that you and your loved ones are in mortal danger. Face masks and hand sanitizers, made obligatory by corrupt governments, have turned out to be toxic and carcinogenic. Not enough oxygen, too much carbon dioxide, skin diseases, lung diseases, retarded development in infants. We were warned by all the unbribed professionals.
Warned by all the unbribed.
But the people didn't hear it, due to the everlasting fear-mongering repetition of the mainstream media. The notorious nose swab was introduced.
You know
Not
what?
an ordinary cotton swab.
Let's do it. We're doing it live.
Repetition
Doing a
of the
screenshot.
mainstream
Print screen. There's powerful truth to this image right here. Unbelievable.
media. The notorious nose swab was introduced.
Oof,
Not an ordinary
not good.
cotton swab, but a genuine professional nylon fiber swab that have been sterilized with ethylene oxide, which is toxic and carcinogenic.
Not good.
That contain morgellons, the same nanoparticles we found in face masks.
Right.
That leave sharp fibers behind deep inside your nasal cavity. That contain the notorious DARPA hydrogel. That contain nanobots called theragrippers. That in all probability contain the vaccine. That may damage either your facial nerve or your olfactory nerve, or
muzzled-
both. And if your blood-brain barrier is damaged in the process, a tissue that protects your brain against anything that is not supposed to enter it, you are officially buggered. Your limbic system will bear the detrimental consequences, which may shorten your life expectancy considerably.
Wow.
That's a lot to take in, isn't it? We fully take in, isn't it? Consequences, which may shorten your life expectancy.
There's lots I gotta do over here being a one-man band. So to be present and absorb, sometimes there's just moments of distraction and co-promoting that's taking place, but to really absorb that, I mean, to be honest with yourself, if you subjected yourself to, or your children or anyone to these, and you're dealing with any of these things, I mean, talk about an opportunity for class action lawsuits, but even more importantly, getting to the roots of the issues to hopefully eradicate the issues to bring health back into you.
Expectancy considerably.
Knowledge is power.
That's a lot to take in, isn't it? We fully understand if you don't believe us at this point, but let's take a closer look at the evidence, shall we?
Let's do it.
Number 1. Nose swabs are sterilized with ethylene oxide, a toxic carcinogenic gas. Now, according to the officials who are pushing the nose swabs down our noses, it's completely safe and nothing to worry about.
Right, they're indoctrinated.
Well, they're lying. Again. Nose swabs contain 50 times the maximum allowed amount of ethylene oxide.
Wow.
50 times! Why? Is that really necessary for something that children now have to sniff each and every day before being allowed to go to school in some countries? Number 2. Nose swabs contain more gallons. Remember them from part 20?
Right.
Those nanobot creepy crawlies in face masks that people inhale all day long? Well,
so
I guess it wasn't enough to add them to just the masks, for they are in your nose swabs as well. Easy to test for yourself.
That was ingenious. Yeah, easy to test for yourself. Get your own microscope and put it over a warm, because that mimics breath, and it's interesting how that type of moisture and the warmth kind of activates them and they get all squirrely, and it's so nano, it's so small, it could work and burrow its way through tissue and wreak havoc. I mean, I can only imagine is to your gut biome, your organs, whatever it works its way into. But you could see in that last episode how people were pulling them out of their skin all over their body, from their backs, their arms, their feet. So it makes its way scarily all over. That's got to be wreaking havoc.
They become active.
And this is what freaks me out, folks. We got to stop the chemtrails, because this also has been found in the dang sprays. Unbelievable. Is that why I have these bumps right here on my arm? I mean, I'm not actually eradicating, from what I can see, kind of a fiber substance like that, but it's still very alarming. We just got to stop these things. Let's get our health, man. Let's go.
At body temperature, so hold a nose swab over a bowl of hot water and just wait. Use a magnifying glass or a microscope to see the filthy little critters that you push up your nose every time you do a nose swab. If you're lucky, they'll remain in your nasal cavity.
Look how it's moving.
If not,
that's crazy.
They will enter your brain. More about which in a bit.
What is
Number
going
3.
on?
Nose swabs leave sharp fibers behind.
It's like alien.
Once again, ever so easy to test for yourself. Here's a nose swab, and here's a piece of meat, representing the inside of your head. Roll the swab according to protocol across the meat, and voila! You can see some of the sharp fibers break off.
Holy
smokes. They are left behind inside your head.
Holy
now, maybe
smokes,
you're not
look at all
by
that.
this, but most of the medical doctors who saw this are. The fibers in these swabs were designed to break off. They're hollow, you see. That's why no ordinary cotton swabs were ever used. The hollow fibers contain something called DARPA hydrogel, number 4.
Wow.
DARPA hydrogel is in the hollow fibers of the nose swab. Why is this worrying? Well, first of all, nothing benign has ever come out of DARPA, nor the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that in this particular case worked together with biotech company Prefuser. Prefuser makes tissue-integrating biosensors for continuous monitoring of body chemistries. We're talking tiny biosensors made of a porous smart gel. Biosensors that communicate your medical information via fluorescent light signals to an optical reader, which subsequently can be read using an app on your smartphone. Your medical data can and will be shared with healthcare providers and public health analysts. Securely, of course. What a marvelous piece of technology. We absolutely love and support scientific progress. We really do. I mean, you can use this to monitor diseases such as diabetes or chronic lung diseases. But can somebody please explain to us why this is in your nose swab? And why we were not told about this?
Yeah.
Number 5. Nose swabs contain nanobots called Theragrippers, invented by Johns Hopkins researchers in 2020.
Look at that.
This is what a Theragripper looks like. A star-shaped microdevice made from metal. It's a shapeshifter, meaning it changes shape from this
Can
to
administer
this,
vaccines.
as soon as it reaches body temperature. The 6 sharp microtips then latch onto your intestinal mucosa like the teeth of a hookworm that actually stood model for this invention. And any medicine or vaccine encapsulated at the center will be released gradually into your body over a period of 24 hours. Theragrippers are no bigger than a dust speck. They can be administered to you thousands at a time. Here they are next to a hypodermic needle.
Wow,
And this is what they look
at
like
that.
on a cotton swab. Interesting choice of photo on their website, don't you think?
Yeah.
For decades, farmers have been using nose swabs to vaccinate their cattle. It's fairly common and not state-of-the-art at all. The nose swab is dipped into the vaccine and up it goes into the nose.
Not good.
Number 6. Nose swabs may damage your facial nerve or your olfactory nerve, or both. There's only a very small angle that is safe to perform a nose swab. If the healthcare worker or you, when you do the
Look at that image. Imagine, those could work their way up right into the freaking brain. Not good.
yourself, miss that safe angle, you run the risk of having some very important cranial nerves damaged. Nerves that enable you to smell and taste. Nerves that keep your facial expressions the way you want them to be.
Wow.
Nerves that protect your brain against foreign invaders, such as bacteria and viruses. Number 7. When a nose swab is performed incorrectly, your blood-brain barrier may be punctured.
Right.
If this is the case, all kinds of pathogens may enter your brain and leave a trail of destruction. If your limbic system is damaged as a result, you will get symptoms like chronic fatigue, disturbed sleeping patterns, disturbed alertness, altered emotions, memory problems, loss of control of movements and of body temperature. Combined with the result of damaged facial and olfactory nerves with symptoms such as the loss of smell and the loss of taste, COVID-19 will be named as the culprit of all your symptoms.
Right.
The symptoms you got right after having a nose swab. Any correlation will be dismissed by
Unbelievable.
doctors and by fact-checkers. It was all just a coincidence.
Sure.
It will take some time before all the nasal swabs gone horribly wrong will come to the surface.
Ugh.
As we speak, more and more people are stepping forward with their horrid stories about broken off swabs that remained inside the nasal cavity. Or that were found stuck in a lung.
What?
About the most horrendous headaches ever since the swab.
Wow. Golly, we've been guinea pigs.
About people with
Unbelievable.
cerebrospinal fluid leaks.
Why do we even need to be doing the testing itself was entirely defective. It's what stood up this pandemic, and we subjected ourselves to that and much, much, much more. Time to take down the cabal.
Brain bleeds.
Oh man. Crazy.
About children with nosebleeds and eye bleeds.
You know what? Let's do a shout out real quick, or a call to action. Not technically a shout out. Call to action. It doesn't seem we are even being advertised on Rumble with our lives. What the freak is that about? I'm going to make email Rumble. It's homework for me after this podcast. Why does this matter? Well, to get this information out to protect our littles, to protect our loved ones from all of this information. This is just a tip of the iceberg, undoubtedly, that Janet's going to be going through for us all today. So it seems we're going against more than algorithms. we're literally being shadow banned on free speech platforms. Luckily, we're able seemingly to organically grow where you can, copy, paste, share this with folks. Let some of your friends know we're live now. Bring them on in. Let's do what we can to grow this movement together.
Thousands of medical doctors have stepped forward, calling out to stop this insanity.
Brain damage.
If a virus is so contagious, do you really think it can only be found hidden deep inside your head? If there's only a narrow, safe angle, must we really expose our children to this dangerous belief based on nothing but fear? Do you really believe that these were done safely, bearing in mind that narrow, safe angle?
No, look, that's terrible. Wrong angle. Wow. Oh, no. And all that moving around? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. No. Get that out of that kid's brain. Oh my gosh. Should go to prison. What are you doing?
If our governments and health institutes keep telling us to trust the science,
I'm sweating,
then what
man.
science
That pisses
exactly
me
are they
off.
talking about? Why didn't they inform us about the nanotechnology in the swabs? Or about the possibility of being vaccinated by means of a swab? Why didn't they point out the dangers of being severely injured, or worse, due to an ill-performed swab? What science exactly are they referring to?
I'm freaking so
wait.
mad still.
Let me guess. They must be talking about the science of the PCR test, right? After all, after your nose has been swabbed, its content is sent off to be tested by the famous PCR. The inventor of the PCR was biochemist and Nobel Prize winner Dr. Gary Mullis. He developed the PCR in 1983 to amplify DNA sequences. That's it. The PCR was never meant to be used for diagnostic purposes.
Boom, tell them.
In other words, you cannot use the PCR to diagnose a disease.
Hence
you
a pandemic.
Cannot use it to diagnose COVID-19.
Cannot distinguish. This is what the inventor indicated for us all right out the gate. Completely getting negated. Unbelievable. This means this test cannot distinguish from COVID, from a cold, from measles, from Ebola. Like, wow. Let that sink in. There are still folks getting these defective tests. Unbelievable. I'm all ramped up after those kids. Like, oh my gosh. Please let that motivate you to help get this information out. Please.
Every virologist knows this. Mullis has stepped forward on previous occasions when his invention had been abused.
Right.
The PCR does not detect an existing infection.
What did that last one state? I'm so sorry. Let's misinterpretation instead of abuse. Yep. After his death and was unpresident. Jeez. Janet, thank you.
The PCR does not detect an existing infection.
Boom.
It only measures whether sequences of a virus are present in the body. These sequences could just as easily come from a viral infection that has already been overcome, or from contamination that doesn't even lead to infection at all.
Right.
And with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything in anybody. It's just a process that's used to make a whole lot of something out of something. It doesn't tell you that you're sick, and it doesn't tell you that the thing you ended up with really was going to hurt you or anything like that.
Boom.
It gets worse.
Unbelievable.
The outcome of the PCR fully depends on the number of cycles the test runs. The more cycles, the higher the chance you'll find whatever you want to find.
Right.
After all, with each cycle, you amplify DNA sequences. In other words, if you run 40 cycles, you will find just about everything from cancer
which
to
it was
HIV
ran
to
at.
COVID-19. But that doesn't mean you actually have an active pathogen that makes you ill or dangerous to others.
Boom.
We
Tell
all
'em.
have cancer cells, but we don't all have cancer.
Anyone can test positive for practically anything with a PCR test if you run it long enough with PCR. If you do it well, you can find almost anything and anybody. It doesn't tell you. It's unbelievable, right? How did we were so duped. This ramps up the importance on gaining full control of free speech. Nothing is to suppress and do what it's doing, like we showed at the beginning of this episode with TikTok. Yuval Harari just playing a clip where he says it himself that we are hackable animals. These are the tactics that they've done that leads to hacked 100% in manipulating us, as well as the information and the control and the censorship, so many other things. It's so clear. The picture becomes so clear and easy to see. Once again, no rocket scientist, just I'm more limited than the majority of you, yet the picture's so freaking clear. And it's just like, what are we doing about it? Why aren't we doing anything about it? We cannot. It would be delusional to go back to a life of normacy without addressing these issues. That would just ensure worse things come down the pipe for us. That's just a guarantee. If you can't see that or are willing to accept that, then I don't know what to tell you. You're living in Looney Tunes. You're not living in reality. Unbelievable.
Insane amount of false positives? That's what happens when you abuse the PCR.
Wow. 40 to 45 cycles. Wow.
And guess what? The authorities knew this all along.
Intentional crimes.
The WHO confirmed it on December 14, 2020.
Really?
Did you even notice?
Wow. Fauci admits PCR tests cannot detect infection. January 15th. Oh, finally, 2022. Unbelievable. Well, geez.
The only way you could tell if it's transmissible, if you can show that there really is live replication virus in you, and the tests don't measure that.
What a crock.
Somebody does come in with 37, 38, even 36. You got to say, it's just dead nucleotides, period.
What a
now,
rat.
please realize that there's nothing else to say,
gosh.
really. We're looking at the biggest global scam ever. SARS-CoV-2 was never proven to exist.
Wow.
You know what
Tell
was
'em.
proven? The uselessness of disinfecting your hands 1,000 times a day. The dangers of disinfecting your hands 1,000 times a day. The uselessness of wearing face masks.
Yep.
The dangers of wearing face masks. The uselessness of nose swabs. The dangers of nose swabs. The fraudulent use of the PCR,
Proven.
which, by the way, was the gold standard of the entire COVID scam.
Right.
Do you realize what that means? If you dismiss the credibility of the PCR numbers, which has finally and rightfully occurred, you are left with nothing. No gold standard, no reliable statistics, nothing. Nothing but lies. Deliberate lies.
Guys,
And you
you right now are the true warriors. The fact you're thirsty for this information right now, to absorb it, knowledge truly is power. It's more than power. This could lead to flourishing. This could lead to resilience and health, gaining our health back, getting our freedoms back. And it's all together. If you want to reach out and guest on the podcast, reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I'd love to have you. Let's just do what we can to magnify these messages and the work Janet has put together so amazingly for us, bringing all the evidence, walking through it so magnificently, clearly, just lays out why the world is the way it is. It's crucial. More gain the big picture. I don't need to tell you as to why. You get it.
Know what was put on top of those lies? More lies.
Oh,
Even if
boy.
you're asymptomatic, meaning you don't have any symptoms, you are still a danger to others.
Unbelievable.
Complete and utter bollocks.
Yep.
And they knew it.
It still appears to be rare that an asymptomatic individual actually
Oh
transmits.
my gosh.
Have you taken a test? Are you going to take a test?
No. Well, I'm not taking a test for some reason. I have no symptoms.
Only do it as we
But
see
not
it.
everybody in the United States should take a test. I mean, I have no symptoms. There's no reason for me to take it. In all the history of respiratory-borne viruses of any type, asymptomatic transmission has never been the driver of outbreaks. The driver of outbreaks is always a symptomatic person. Even if there's a rare asymptomatic person that might transmit, an epidemic is not driven by asymptomatic carriers.
Oh my gosh.
You
The
know what was put on
circus
top of those
continues.
lies? Scandals. March
Right.
2020. Test kits in the UK had been contaminated with a COVID-19 virus. Excuse me?
What?
How on earth did that happen?
Well, define COVID.
Was this ever investigated? Was anybody held accountable?
Right.
Of course not. Nobody seemed to care.
cares. Unbelievable.
You know what was put on top of that scandal? Yet another scandal. Bill Gates sold your DNA data to China. Not just yours, but everybody's. Every swab containing DNA was sold to China, as proven and revealed in 2021. Was Gates held accountable?
You know what? We're going to pause that just to pull this up because nobody cares. I should have screenshotted. Do I have the other one up here? I don't see it. But why is this the truth of our, like what we all kind of experienced and went through? The majority of us, to this day, it's just like with the ones I am close to that are suffering from the shot, the ones that I'm close to that are no longer with us due to the shot. It's like, yes, half of the individuals showing up, let's say at the funeral, get it. They've seen the big picture. They've done the research. They've used their eyes and their discernment and they get it. But the other half are still doing this. They're still getting in line for comforting lies more so than unpleasant truths. And it's kind of just solidifying that fictional, fracted core belief that they are tying more and more their identity to, and it's just becoming harder. So some of them, I'm sure we could still get through, but we, I feel, don't need to wake up much more than we have if we could get the percentage we have more actively engaged to see real results, if that makes sense. But without more engagement of those that are awake and alert to these war tactics, we need more people on board to see that shift. So it's time to shift the paradigm. When everyone's over here, now people will question, why am I over here? What's this all about? When you shift that paradigm, then they're going to get in this line to find out this unpleasant truth. And what a blessing that would become.
Of course not. You know what was put on top of that scandal? Deceit. In order to scare the people into a frenzy, crisis actors and even dolls were used.
Look at that. That is not a person. Oh my gosh, really? And the dude was thumbs up? Like, what? Look at that. They're just playing. What? Unbelievable. The circus, folks. Oh my gosh. We got to get people over here. Then they'll be like, Why was I waiting on the talking heads to tell me the truth? Oh, God. The world we live in, this is so crazy. I freaking love you guys. Let's go. Let's wake people up. Let's take more action.
Und wir haben bestimmte Aufgaben bekommen. Das ist meine. Informieren Sie einen
Crisis
Mitarbeiter
Actor.
darüber, dass Sie das Gefühl haben, schlechter Luft zu bekommen. Das ist meine Bettnummer. Und ich kriege für das Ganze hier Geld.
Get out of here. Oh my gosh. Not a real hospital. Completely staged.
Just when you think you've seen it all. You know what was put on top of the deceit? Yet another scandal.
More
called
scandals.
bribery and corruption.
Oh my gosh,
Ever
she's
heard
going to
of
build a whole
Belarus?
pyramid.
You will now. The president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, refused to participate in the lockdown and other COVID insanities. After which the
what
World
happened?
Bank and the IMF offered him a bribe of $940 million in the form of COVID relief aid.
Oh my
In
gosh.
exchange, Lukashenko had to impose extreme lockdowns on his people, force them to wear face
Don't
masks,
tell me it
impose
worked.
very strict curfews, impose a police state, and crash the economy. Lukashenko refused. When all the other so-called leaders succumbed to temptation, Lukashenko stood ground and told the world what had just happened.
Как решается этот вопрос? При этом хочу заявить, что мы ни под кого плясать не будем. Там уже появляются требования. Вы, мол, в борьбе с коронавирусом в Беларуси делайте как в Италии. Слушайте, я не хочу, чтобы, не дай бог, повторилась ситуация в Беларуси, как в Италии. Уже Всемирный банк готов нас профинансировать в 10 раз больше, чем предлагал, за то, что мы эффективно боремся с этой болезнью. А МВФ продолжает требовать от нас, вы давайте изоляцию, давайте карантин, давайте комендантский час. Слушайте, что за глупость?
Were the World Bank and the IMF held accountable? Of course not. You know what was put on top of that scandal?
Someone gets it. Oh, it's so powerful to see. What happened? Is he still here with us? That really surprises me. Oh.
Yet another scandal called statistics fraud. In May 2020, officials admitted tens of thousands of COVID tests had been double counted. In other words, two samples taken from the same patient, for instance to get an immediate second opinion, were recorded as two separate tests in the government's official
Here we go.
figures. What a great way to pump up the volume. Then, also in 2020, the common flu had disappeared, just like that.
Right.
The official numbers showed no more flu.
But it actually didn't. Of course it didn't. It disappeared. The sheer amount of information.
During their influenza season, actually, they saw a very limited flu transmission. It was unexpected and very surprising, but literally there was nearly no flu this year in the Southern Hemisphere.
Right.
The amount of people who now died of the flu, hundreds of thousands as always, were now
Hundreds of
counted
thousands.
as COVID casualties.
Right. Of course.
Playing with numbers like that is called fraud.
Fraud, 100%. Tell him,
Also
Janet.
in 2020, in August, the CDC admitted that of all the so-called COVID deaths, only 6% had no other illnesses. 94% had died with an average of 2.5 comorbidities, meaning other underlying illnesses.
Right.
In other words, according to the CDC, 94 out of 100 COVID deaths had actually died of a heart disease, of a respiratory illness, pneumonia,
94.
organ failure, cancer, obesity, or a cognitive disease. Yet all of them had COVID-19 on their death certificate.
Wow.
Why? You'll soon find out.
Incentivization.
Here's another example of how statistics were used to mislead the people. The Dutch RIVM showed these graphs using different scales on the y-axis. Here it's 5,000 people. Yet here it's only 25. But can you feel what it does to you to see these two graphs? Number 2 seems so much worse.
Right.
And look at this horrific orange peak. Oh my god.
This
But
orange
hey,
peak.
the amount of people between these lines is only 5. So,
Wow.
on the 1st of September, 11 people died of COVID-19. Bearing in mind the false positives and the hidden comorbidities, remember the CDC 6%? The actual number should be something like not even one whole person. Well,
Evidence. Stacked on evidence. Stacked on evidence. These are war crimes. 100% crimes against humanity. The infringement during this pandemic on even the Nuremberg Code. What happened? Don't words mean something to us? Doesn't history mean something to us? Now, I get it. Unmuzzled Chat family, warriors, we get it. We're just to help try to gain the momentum. Let's build it out together. I know I'm very repetitive, but let's ramp it up. Great work. We just got more people engaged in this live. Let's ramp it up more. Invite more in. It's only your life. It's only your health. It's only our futures at stake. It's a little important. Dare I say it might be more important than work today. To be honest, this is more important we ensure. Otherwise, where does that lead? If everyone just continues on their work paths and we don't get engaged on higher levels, they're not stopping here. Worse things are coming. That's just a guarantee. Let me go to war on your behalf. If you're going to continue to work, at least let me try to even the scales and get better at doing what we're doing and providing real solutions and websites, things of that nature, that people could just go and demand this all these legs of warfare, like the censorship, that we demand the end of that tyranny, that we demand these bioweapon shots get taken off of shelves and full investigations get done on the childhood vaccine schedule, and the chemtrail stop, and the fluoride gets taken out of the water, and we privatize our food again. We can't allow Bill Gates in China to buy up the bulk of the farmland and centralize the distribution and control over our food in this country. That's insane for us to allow that to continue. They're doing freaking experiments on our food with this mRNA crap, with the Morgellons things and parasite warfare, everything. This has been the biggest distribution of wealth throughout human history. No longer does a majority of the wealth lie within the middle class. It always did in American history. Now, the majority of the wealth lies within the 1%, which is only thousands, not tens of thousands, thousands. The division is unfathomable. Did I say that right? I hope so. But you get the point. It's everything. And there would be great blessing, more than health. When we take down this infrastructure, actually, we could set ourselves free on the deaded system and so many other corrupt entities, other war legs, tactics. Let's expose it all. Thank you, Janet.
Oh, now we understand why we're heading towards the next lockdown. Not. On top of our pyramid of all the lies, deceit, scandals, bribery and corruption, there were more lies about overloaded
More
ICUs.
lies.
Starting in the spring of 2020, we called many hospitals. We asked others to call hospitals in their area, in their country. They all came back with the same astonishing findings. The ICUs were not overloaded. It was like a normal seasonal flu in which the elderly with comorbidities tend to pass away.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, tell me she goes into the murderous hospital protocols with remdesivir, the vent, how they were horrifically used and abused and incentivized like that. And the isolation, the malnourishment, the horrific treatment reported time and time again. Now, certain places obviously have more egregious reports and some not so much. So it's not every nurse and doctor and institution, but the vastness of the doctors that got put into a box that this was the gold standard, it was egregious. I can't believe how many stopped practicing medicine actually infringed upon their Hippocratic oath. It is unacceptable. Wow.
Now, before we end this episode and move along like a steam train, please do take a moment to fully grasp the significance of false positives. We mentioned it quite a few times. Do you really know what it means? It means hundreds of thousands of people were wrongly quarantined, looked up, and even hospitalized.
Right.
It means countless businesses went bankrupt. The entire middle class was given a huge blow. The intentional abuse of the PCR tore families apart. It means an enormous emotional and psychological impact on humanity, most of all on children and the elderly. It means a devastating rise in suicides.
Right. Breaks my heart.
We can only imagine Dr. Muller's turning over in his grave.
Just before COVID-19 set the stage.
Guys like Fauci get out there and
knew.
start talking, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face.
Wow.
Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it.
Wow.
He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine. He should not be in a position like he's in.
Oh my gosh.
Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to. Tony Fauci does not mind going on television in front of the people who pay his salary and lie directly into the camera.
Wow.
Even today, the PCR test determines infection and death rates, which in turn determine the waves of infection, which in turn determines the lockdown levels, and which is now driving the push for mandatory vaccinations. As we make this episode, our heroes of the Corona Investigative Committee are taking governments to court for basing their destructive COVID policies solely and unjustly on the PCR.
Good. And all the lies. And I'm sorry, there's no immunity
We have
to
great
these crimes.
faith in their work. Will there be justice? Oh yes. In the end, truth and light walk hand in hand, and they always prevail. It's just a matter of time and perseverance. But for now, it's time to expose some more ugly truths. After all, we may have given you our appalling COVID pyramid, but one element is still missing. Do you want to know what the capstone is trying to hide at all cost?
Yep.
Then follow me to part 22.
Fantastic. I applaud her work. Holy smokes, what a gift this is. And I'm not going to mess around. We're just going to jump right into part 22. Let's go. By the way, we are playing at 1.25 speed. So in each episode, we got the links down below. If for whatever reason you want to send the direct link, and it is plugging my buddy Aid from the UK, We Are One, let's go, because a lot of her series has actually been pulled down. Surprise, surprise. And like even before her death, even more so now after her death. But Aid from the UK was able to gather all the information and have all this still available through his channels. So he's another gift to us. And he's blown up a lot bigger than we are. So if you want to check him out, obviously by clicking the links below, it will take you to the We Are One channel. And I believe he's got 2 separate channels on Rumble. But the Cabal scam could only exist due to lies, deceit, and fraud set up by the Cabal. Think about that. What is the devil here to do? Deceive us. Been too effective in doing that, right? I humbly admit. The number one enemy of the people, the mainstream media, did not rest. The result, a great pandemic of fear. Are you ready for the capstone of our COVID pyramid? Yes, ma'am. Let's go. Let's share this out. This episode,
previous episode,
no doubt, this episode's going to shine the light on a lot. Let's get more people into this live, as many as we can. Let's build these up, folks.
With our COVID pyramid, build layer upon layer of lies, deceit, fraud, and scandals. Now, of course, you're wondering by now, how come so many hospitals, doctors and healthcare workers in general went along with all of the above?
Uh-oh.
Can a scam so huge be kept a secret by so many people? We have reached the capstone of our nauseating COVID pyramid. We shall name the capstone M&M. Money and murder in hospitals.
Money and murder. Oh,
shocking as
she's
it
going
may
to go
sound,
into it.
we've seen it before. Remember the unjust administering of the killer drug midazolam in the UK,
right,
as shown in part 19? Well,
Golly.
the US and many other countries had their own version called remdesivir.
There it is.
Here's what happened. Hospitals were given incentives, as in money, for each and every COVID casualty.
Unacceptable.
According to whistleblowers, investigative journalists, lawyers, and specialists, hospitals in the US have been receiving $13,000 for every admitted COVID patient.
Folks, we showed improved here in the States, in certain states, in excess of $400,000 per COVID death. A lot of states over $300,000 per COVID death. No wonder they wouldn't question the protocols and the box they got put in.
There have been financial extras for every COVID test, for every positive outcome. If patients were treated with the only prescribed drug, remdesivir, the hospital received yet another bonus. 20% of the entire hospital bill of the patient. Then, for every patient put on a ventilator, the hospital received $39,000. And if that patient officially died of COVID-19, they got yet another $13,000. That's a lot of money. According to attorney Thomas Renz and CMS whistleblowers, the hospitals receive approximately $100,000 per COVID casualty, if the above protocol was followed.
Breaks my heart. Our family members, come on. We're isolated and given this murderous protocol. Murderous. It's literally money for murder.
Now the thing is, the American hospitals receive this money in advance, based on the COVID predictions, based on the flawed models of people like Birx. If the hospitals didn't actually meet those models, they had to pay that money back at a later stage. And we're talking millions of dollars here. So, what happened? Everybody who was admitted to a hospital, for instance because of a car accident, or because of cancer, or diabetes, or kidney failure, everybody got a PCR test to start with. Due to the ridiculous amount of cycles, there was an abundance of false positives.
Right.
False positives equals COVID patients equals money.
Right.
Hence the sudden rise in COVID patients. Then, remdesivir left its detrimental mark, just like midazolam had done in the UK. You see, remdesivir is not a new drug. It was used in 2018 during the West African Ebola outbreak. It was known to have severe adverse effects such as kidney damage, liver damage, and even death.
Show the real statistic.
Yet, in 2020, Anthony Fauci directed that
Guys, we can pull up the actual results. Over 54% of the patients that received the remdesivir in that trial for Ebola died. Over 50%. When you add the vent, there are other doctors that really walk through everything the hospitals were doing. It increased the mortality rate exponentially. Unbelievable.
remdesivir was to be the drug hospitals used to treat COVID-19. Hence the incentives. So, what happened next? Those poor patients only got worse, after which they were put on a ventilator. After all, that was yet another bonus of many thousands of dollars pouring straight into the pockets of the hospitals. Now, the problem with ventilators is that the patient is put into an induced coma. His or her breathing is taken over by a machine that puts extra pressure on the lungs, called baropressure. In the case of damaged lungs due to, for instance, pneumonia.
By the way, meanwhile, other doctors were... I could give plugs. I mean, Dr. Should we? I should get his consent. But there's a lot that have advertised it, where they have high risk patients. Let's say they specialize in cancer, but there have been reports where they had tens of thousands of patients all survive, or a 99.99% survival rate, even amongst elderly with cancer, with comorbidities, with high risk, and their survival rate was off the charts in comparison. So meanwhile, and what were they doing? Focusing on nutrition, IV bags, ivermectin, HCQ, exercise, what you eat, just the basics that were not being talked about on the news. They wanted you out of the sun. They didn't want you grounding. They didn't want you socializing. All the things that were going to ramp up fear, depression. That in and of itself impacts the body, the immune system, inflammation, the psychology. Like, it shifts, becomes very destructive. This is more than psychological warfare. Fifth generation warfare is no joke, and my hat is off to evil as to how planned out and how effective they were ramping up that fear to where there was just mass compliance to our detriment. Now, I'm not here to point the finger. The blessing is we can learn, and the silver linings, and we can accept the reality of the situation. Help us pave a way to redemption, to extreme accountability in ruling out this cabal once and for all. Let's go.
Those lungs will only get worse. They will not be able to deal with the increased pressure. The chances of that patient recovering, of being able to be taken off the ventilator and to start breathing by himself are very, very small.
Right.
Combined with organ failure as a result of remdesivir, the chances of that patient ever leaving the hospital alive are next to nothing.
Oh, man. Right. Whoa. Whistleblower in the state of Texas, 85% of the COVID patients put on ventilators died within 4 days. 85% of them. Murder for money. Now, did all the staff involved in these institutions really understand? No. They drank up the fear just like so many of us. Oh, terrific. Golly.
There is a product which is proven to cause renal failure and hepatic injury.
Let's go.
Doctors continue to give the product, causing more kidney injury. I have over 500 publications on kidney injury. I'm telling you, it contributes to death without a doubt.
Over
that 500 mass psychosis.
Over 500 publications. This 100% mass psychosis. Good job, Peter. Wow.
Is Dr. McCullough correct? Is it mass psychosis? Or are we talking murder here? Mass murder? Genocide?
All the above.
We think so. Why? Because the hospitals knew. The incentives were simply too massive to reject. Man's biggest temptation was deployed by the cabal, the almighty dollar.
The nurses
We've learned from
and doctors that stood against it lost their jobs. Some of them lost their lives.
That not many people are capable of saying no. And so, hospitals, medical doctors, specialists, even nurses succumb to temptation and sold their soul to the highest bidder. Not all of them, thank God. Those who followed their heart and remained true to their oath of Hippocrates to help those in need are now called whistleblowers. Thanks to them, we can tell you what happened behind closed doors.
Right here. Banned by Facebook for spreading disinformation about vaccines. The ones he himself had invented. How does that happen? How does the inventor get taken down for mis or disinformation? Once again, this just truly highlights the danger of the infringement on our First Amendment right, our God-given right. Frick Facebook. Zuckerberg. These individuals should be imprisoned for life, if not taken to the gallows, considering how many deaths continued, or even to this day continued, due to that level of censorship. It could have shifted the pandemic a year earlier had they not done this. But once again, they're part of the cabal. They're part of the fifth generation warfare. Unbelievable. Not censored. Yes.
There's a financial incentive to call somebody COVID positive. The hospitals receive a bonus from the government if someone is hospitalized and able to be declared COVID positive. They also receive a bonus. I think the total is something like $30,000 in incentive if somebody gets put on the vent. Then they get a bonus if somebody is declared dead with COVID. So they have an incentive at the front end to declare somebody COVID case. The CDC made a determination that they were going to make a core assumption: if PCR positive and you die, that is death due to COVID. So the extreme example, just to show the absurdity, if the patient comes in with a bullet hole to the head and they do a nose swab and they come up PCR positive, they're determined to have died from COVID, when in fact they died from lead poisoning.
That's real?
Yeah.
So that it really is true. If someone has a gunshot wound and they're dying of that gunshot wound and you check them for COVID, and if they're COVID positive and they die, they mark that off as a COVID death.
That is by definition from the CDC. That was a decision that was made early on.
Wow.
90% of the people put on ventilators died. 90%.
90%.
You have a better chance with Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Okay?
Protocol.
That's a protocol. So listen, and not only is it a protocol, but they get paid to do it.
Wow.
A lot.
Come on.
When you go to the hospital, you get tested. They get paid more. When you get
Thomas Renz, what a
COVID,
gift.
They get paid more. When they put you on remdesivir, they get paid more. When you get ventilated, they get paid more. When you die, they get paid more. This is perverse.
We cannot even begin to describe the tragedy brought upon thousands of innocent people. Not only were they administered on false pretenses and treated wrongly on purpose, not only were their chances of ever getting out alive reduced to almost zero, they were also denied visits from their loved ones. They were denied food and water.
Malnourished.
As they became underfed and dehydrated to the point of dying, they were denied physical, consoling contact with loved ones. They were denied a priest during their last hours.
Wow.
Their loved ones were denied access to medical records. The COVID
Unbelievable.
scam, based on nothing more than politics, destroyed hundreds of thousands of lives.
All that is egregiously unacceptable. Well, that's why I genuinely say it's delusional to go back to a life of normalcy without addressing these egregious outcomes. Any one of the things she just listed. We haven't even gotten into the freaking death jab. That's help me gain the perspective, bottle things up to where we seize this moment in time, this opportunity. Can't you see there's more important things to engage in this era we live in this life we've been given, than what we've been programmed to perpetually fight for in this enslaved, indebted system. Let's break all that down, because it's all part of the cabal. 100%. It's nothing conspiratorial. That's why with the infiltration of the CIA, and they spin out those type of weaponization of words to keep people more so blind and plugged into the matrix. It's all part of the censorship regime, everything. And it's like, let's go. I freaking love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking this out. I so greatly need your assistance, because we are going against every algorithm. So let's continue to bring people in. Let's continue to share. Not just this live, but the episode entirely. Let's go. We got this. Let's build momentum. Let's get real life solutions. This is why we're here. Right? This is why we're here. Let's go.
All because of incentives upon incentives, bonus upon bonus, piles of money upon piles
Janet,
of money.
You're great.
Even the coroners received government money if they put COVID-19 on death certificates.
Come on.
The cabal have thought of everything.
Right.
The one place you should be safe, the one place where you should be handled with love, care, and compassion,
supposedly
turned into a prison camp.
Weaponized.
The place where you are most welcome,
medical
as you
system.
are worth $100,000.
400.
If protocols are followed, and you never leave that place alive.
Right.
This sounds like a horror movie, don't you think? And
Right.
we fully understand if you simply choose to refuse believing us. We too wish we were wrong, misled by conspiracy theorists and their crazy stories. But unfortunately, we lost dear friends who experienced this all the way to the bitter end.
Oh, man.
We will give you a few examples. This was our dear friend, Veronica Wolski. She became famous on social media as a freedom advocate who spent every weekend on a bridge in Chicago, putting up her banners with slogans that made people think.
Wow.
She made them with great love and care. She was always there, no matter how cold the weather. Drivers would honk and wave, letting her know she was not alone in a passionate fight against the cabal. We were in contact via Messenger. She sent us Q bracelets to hand out at our events.
Wow.
She was ever so proud to meet General Flynn, our hero, who never gave up fighting for the rights and liberties of the American people. We were so happy for her, and so proud. One day she wrote us how tired and weary she felt, and how much physical effort it cost to be on that bridge every weekend.
I'd venture to say, just like Janet, she was targeted. The biowarfare, the gathering of all our information, we have no privacy from the cabal, from our own government, on our devices, on our lab results, everything. Do 23andMe, they can directly target us, diminish our health to a point our life force is gone. I've experienced this with the bioweapon Lyme disease, and that's old school, folks. They've integrated the spiral key of Lyme disease into so many things. They still continue. It's been a very effective bioweapon for them. But this new age warfare and the frequency warfare, the nano stuff, mind blown. And they're every day we're allowing and allotting them to put this distribution of wealth to good use to their agendas just becomes that much greater of a threat. That's where we're to wipe this out now. The window of opportunity truly is closing. This is why I don't want to sit back and as amazing as some of the things Trump is, there's still red flags, but with what RFK's bringing to the table, we can't divvy up our roles, our responsibilities to our loved ones. Things are happening too slowly. We could demand things as a people right now. Look at the shifts when we team up against the wokeness of a company and we affect their bottom line. Fact of the matter is, we're not affecting our own country's bottom line because they're taking from us no matter what. So they're less reluctant to listen to us. So there's more. Do I label it as more extreme measures or just more passionate measures we could engage in that would lead to the immediate results we so desperately need? When you get faces, and she brings up examples, real lives, beautiful people, willing to go the distance for us, it just amplifies my resolve and my conviction in doing everything within my ability to fight. 100% fight. How is it not a fight when it's war being waged on all of us? It's entered our homes. It goes beyond just this pandemic. The pandemic's a smoking gun that you can really clearly see the spider web of the cabal. But you connect it through men believing they're women. You connect it through the invasion. You connect it through the infiltration of our government and our institutions, and then our businesses. There's so many different ways, and it's the same cabal. It's the same individuals. We outnumber them millions to one. We genuinely don't even need our Second Amendment to really instigate change here with unity. I sure hope folks get that and get ramped up to do their part. Let's share this to the moon and back. That's part of creating the momentum we need. Whether it's on Muzzle Chat, let's donate. Let's cancel the subscriptions that are toxic like freaking Netflix and put that towards patriots that are actually, let's take action and look at Patriot Mobile. Click the link below versus a tyrannical company. They're actually putting the money to good use. Same thing with Insure a Patriot. Same thing with American Reserves. Same things with Bond Charge. Any one of our affiliations are fighting the good fight on our behalf. Let's go. Let's seize this moment in all its glory to the maximum benefit we can achieve together. If they want to result to anything great, let come what may.
Trouble breathing. She started taking ivermectin, but was unfortunately administered to Chicago's Resurrection Hospital. Her every wish was denied, from continuing treatment with ivermectin to seeing family and friends.
They killed her.
Veronica was put on remdesivir,
they killed her.
She had repeatedly refused.
Unbelievable.
The power of attorney, Nancy Ross, was removed by hospital security on several occasions.
Get out of here.
Even General Flynn tried to intervene and get her out. They got to the point where an ambulance was waiting to transfer Veronica to another hospital. All the care she needed was there. But at the very last moment, the hospital refused to authorize her release.
Get out of here.
Veronica didn't stand a chance
criminal.
And died all alone as a medical prisoner in a Catholic hospital.
Get out
Her
of
official
here.
cause of death? COVID-19.
Not lies. It's murder.
One of our Dutch friends, Dennis, nearly lost his wife Lisa due to maltreatment in the Jeroen Bos Hospital in Den Bosch, the Netherlands. She went in for hyperventilation and back pain. The first thing the doctor did was a nose swab. The PCR ran 44 cycles, something Dennis found out later after questioning the doctor. With a 100% chance of getting a false positive, she indeed got labelled positive and was treated as a COVID patient from that moment on. Her back pain and hyperventilation were completely ignored. Then, on day 2, Dennis was asked for consent to put Lisa on Regenkov. Dennis did some quick research and said no, absolutely not. What the doctors hadn't told him was that Regenkov is an investigational drug. It is experimental. According to the FDA, it can only be used in a case of emergency and only as post-exposure prophylaxis therapy, which means only after exposure to the virus as damage control. It will keep you out of the hospital, or so the FDA claims. In other words, and please remember this, it may one day save your life. Regenkov is an experimental drug that may only be used for people, not patients, people who have been in close contact with COVID patients but who do not have COVID symptoms themselves just yet, or only mild to moderate ones. These people should be tested by means of a PCR test, and then, if they too come out as positive, and if they are at high risk of developing severe COVID-19, including hospitalization or death, only then can they be given this experimental drug called Regenkov. Short recap. If you have been close to a COVID patient, as in less than 6 feet away, you could very well be contaminated with this killer virus, okay? Now, even though this killer virus has never been isolated and thus proven to exist, Even though there were never excess mortality rates, until they started the vaccination program, that is, more about which in the next episode. Even though the official amount of casualties was equal to that of a mild flu, even though the PCR was never meant to be used for diagnostic purposes, and it cannot tell you whether you have COVID or not. Even though we now know that too many cycles will give you a false positive outcome.
Yeah.
Even though, according to the FDA, you may not be in a hospital setting when the emergency use of RegionCov may be considered, but simply at home with no COVID symptoms at all, or just mild ones, even though you must belong to that small group of people who are at high risk for developing severe COVID-19, including hospitalization or death, only then may the use of RegionCov be considered.
Great recap.
So, my question in this particular case is, why on earth did this doctor want to give Lisa RegionCov? She was in the hospital already. Let's stick to the almighty protocol here, shall we?
Wow.
What this doctor did was not allowed by any of the authorities.
It's not just
malpractice. As a matter of fact, it was and is a criminal offense.
Yes.
Why give Lisa a COVID damage control drug when she went in with back pain and hyperventilation complaints? And how on earth can this drug be used in emergency situations when you are still at home with hardly any symptoms? Define emergency, please.
Yeah.
And finally, how can the person put on RegionCov be closely monitored by a doctor when he or she is not in a hospital? Let's take a look at the possible side effects of this drug, shall we? It can cause anaphylaxis, a serious allergic reaction that can cause death within minutes or hours.
Wow.
It can cause serious abnormalities in one's heartbeat and blood pressure. My, but wait for it. The other known adverse reactions are chills, fever, difficulty breathing, nausea, chest pain, muscle pain, headache, fatigue, sore throat, and weakness. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I mean, everything pharmaceutical, everything Western medicine's producing, you risk all this slew. This is actually a shorter list than the majority of them, to treat one dang symptom. That's insanity. Natural remedies don't get properly researched by pharmaceutical. Why? Because they can't patent it. There's no money to be made, so that will never be done. Real doctors actually practicing have stepped away from Western medicine, openly admit that they are going through a remissive state to their indoctrination through their universities where they got their MD, and now they continue education more so in naturopathics, more so in natural remedies, actually start looking into blood work and ways to identify roots of issues, sit down with you, start asking what you're eating, what you're drinking, what's your supply. Do you have mold in your home? Might you have parasites? They're way more effective on actually getting to the roots of the issues and resolving those issues than your typical family practitioner that is wrapped up in the circus of profit. Unbelievable.
These are the identical
We've been
alleged
hoodwinked.
COVID symptoms. My, what a coincidence. So,
Yeah,
if you
COVID symptoms.
die
What a
from
coincidence.
RegionCov, how easy is it to put COVID-19 on your death certificate?
Right.
Is this why fully vaccinated people are not allowed to be treated with RegionCov? Because it's bad for statistics? Oh, and here's another one to ponder. If RegionCov is not to be used in the case of COVID variants, but only for the original COVID-19, can anybody please tell us how variants are detected in a person?
Yes.
If the PCR is unreliable for diagnosis, period, do you really believe it can be used to detect variants?
Right.
Had Lisa been given RegionCov, as suggested by a doctor, her chances of ever getting out of that hospital alive would have been, well, basically zero. Her cause of death would have been COVID-19. After all, she had all the symptoms, right? Thank God, both Dennis and Lisa know enough about the COVID scam to be on high alert.
Wow.
What happened next? On day 3, she was given morphine. Do you know how hard it is to get morphine in the Netherlands, even in a hospital? I do, from personal experience. You have to be in so much pain and beg for it, and even then, still most doctors refuse to give it, as it is highly addictive. True, absolutely. So why the heck give it to alleged COVID patients? After 2 days, Dennis insisted they take her off the morphine. Long story short, after a week in the hospital's COVID department with no fluids and no IV, she was completely exhausted, dehydrated, and ready to die. No. Dennis and a friend insisted she be moved to the ICU, where she was put on a ventilator that took over her breathing.
No.
Within a day in the ICU, she was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré. Whether or not this is correct is still to be seen. After 6 days in the ICU and 4 more weeks of physical therapy, Dennis could finally take her home. If he hadn't been so insisting, he asked for blood test results and medical reports every single day to the point of driving the nurses and doctors crazy, we doubt Lisa would have made it.
Right. Wow.
Another dear friend from the Netherlands, Arjuna, was hospitalized on November 17, 2021. His complaints? Exhaustion. His wife Nora bought a saturation meter and measured a low 65. She called their family doctor, who immediately called for an ambulance. On the way to the hospital, Arjuna was given oxygen, to which he responded very well. Within 15 minutes, his saturation level had gone up to 90. Arjuna was administered to the local hospital, where he was tested for COVID and found positive. But all seemed well. With just a bit of oxygen, his saturation level remained steady just over 90. If only the story had ended there. That night, Arjuna was put on a cocktail of norepinephrine, rocuronium, propofol, sufentanil, and midazolam. Enough to put an elephant down.
Unbelievable.
Arjuna was put on a ventilator and sank into a deep coma.
Wow.
Why? Nobody knows. Except the doctors, who refused to tell what happened that night. On day 2, a doctor called Nora and asked for her consent to treat Arjuna with Regenkov. She said it was an experimental drug, but didn't add any information. Nora said no and insisted Arjuna be treated according to the Math Plus protocol, but her request was denied. Once again, why for God's sake suggest Regenkov? Arjuna was in the hospital, on oxygen, and on a ventilator. That's 3 times a no-go, according to the officials. That same night, Nora was told by a nurse that they had deepened her husband's comatose state, as he had started to breathe by himself. Instead of taking him off the ventilator, they had given him more narcotics. Nora then talked to another doctor and repeated her Math Plus protocol request, but he too said he had to follow the hospital's protocol. On day 7, Arjuna was transferred to the Jeroen Bos Hospital in Den Bosch, the same hospital that had almost killed our friend Lisa. Arjuna was given more midazolam, fentanyl, and other sedatives.
Unbelievable.
On day 14, the doctors turned the ventilator off. Arjuna died, leaving Nora behind, devastated and inconsolable. His official cause of death? COVID-19.
So I'm actually trying to find the episodes we did of the lovely wife. They did a whole documentary regarding her husband right here in America, and how the murderous hospital protocol murdered her husband indisputably, and they go through it with such a fine-tooth comb. It's so very powerful. I really wish I could find it real quick to plug it. My gosh. I mean, here we go. You could browse. It's in here. But Alexis Lorenz, vaccine injured. All these soldiers we've had on. Everything they've had to say. But, man, I just need to get more organized. But heard those documentaries, like, it's so eye-opening. It's irrefutable. You can't argue against the murderous protocol.
Then there's the adventure of Benjamin Gord. He got into a single car crash, early 22.
Oh,
when he came
yeah.
to and realized what had happened, he checked his arms and legs, and all seemed just fine.
Yeah.
After about 10 minutes, help arrived. The first thing they did was give him an injection.
Take a syringe, an EMT take a syringe out, and started coming at me, and I said, no, what the? And he said, just gonna calm me down, boss. It went in, and it went black.
What?
7 hours later, he woke up in a hospital on a ventilator. As he remembered, he had come out of the car crash unharmed. He pulled out the ventilator tube, the IV in his arm, and the catheter. He got up and went to a desk with some nurses and asked,
perfectly healthy.
Why did you put me on a ventilator?
Yeah.
Does it look like I'm having any trouble whatsoever breathing? I'm standing.
The answer was, because you have COVID.
And I said, even if that's true,
yeah,
that you tested me for COVID, that ventilator is a late stage, last resort, hyper-invasive thing that you've done. What did you give to me? First thing she says is propofol. And I said, oh, the thing that killed Michael Jackson. Great. And then she mentioned fentanyl and morphine.
Wow.
It was only because of his strong attitude that he left that hospital alive.
Wow.
He then tried to reach as many people as possible on social media to tell his shocking tale and to share his warning.
Be extra careful no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Avoid the hospital.
Right. Wow.
As we edit this voiceover, thousands of people
Tried
are
making
literally
money.
being murdered by doctors and nurses.
To this
and to
day.
be honest, if you had told us this a year ago, we would not have believed you.
Right.
But now, we have seen this living nightmare up close and personal.
It's hard to absorb.
Not only that, we receive these horrid accounts on a daily basis from across the world. Do you want to hear healthcare whistleblowers? Do you want to know what you can do to save your life or that of a loved one? Yeah. Then follow me to part 23.
Oh, what a gift. 23, give us some of the solutions, questions we can ask to ensure our loved ones don't get preyed upon with this incentivized, murderous system. It's unbelievable. We've been hoodwinked into these words meaning something, health services and healthcare and hospitals. I mean, to even think about Dana White, how Western medicine failed him and his body was failing him and he almost died. And then it was through, what was that gentleman's name? It's slipping my mind. By actual natural remedies. And now Dana White's testimony is, wow, unless you're relying on the system for like surgery and things to that nature, it seems to be decent, but you still need an advocate even for those situations. You would be insane. Like, I have no trust. F the system. Like, he's very blunt and vulgar, right? UFC freaking creator. But you'd be insane to go to these institutions regarding your health and wellness because they're not achieving that. Once again, words are supposed to mean something to us, folks. Holy, it breaks my heart. We've lost too many because we've fallen to the true propagandists, to a hidden agenda of 5th generation warfare. It's like they've literally infiltrated this country, and conquered in a huge way without firing a shot. It's crazy. Part of me wishes it was more traditional warfare because more of us would actually be... We would acknowledge the level of warfare taking place. This snake in the grass type style warfare has been way too effective and so devastating. We have yet to even fully grasp it. But there is a lot of silver lining with it. And I hope that today's Jesus is calling help shine the light on the opportunities we have. I just want to show more appreciation for Janet. Rest in peace, hon. Thank you so much for being such a warrior and gifting us such an amazing original 10-part series, and also the sequel. The sequel seems to just be getting more and more heavy hitting. Can't wait to dive into part 23. Join us. Share this with more people. Get more people anticipating. I should be on tomorrow. And then I gotta go refill some subscriptions for my Lyme disease. And I'll be back. But I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait. I can't get this information out fast enough to you all. So let's try to gear more people up to being open and joining on the live and participating. Let's just take a quick glance. Okay. So in Jesus Calling, November 15th, it reads, approach problems with a light touch, something I need to work on. When your mind moves toward a problem area, you tend to focus on that situation so intensely, this is speaking to me so profoundly, that you lose sight of me. You lose sight of walking in the fruit of the Spirit. You pit yourself against the difficulty as if you had to conquer it immediately. It's kind of summing me up here, isn't it? Your mind gears up for battle and your body becomes tense and anxious. Unless you achieve total victory, you feel defeated. Great character flaws within me. I pray to change that and become more resilient in a loving way. Hopefully this will give us some of the solutions, right? There is a better way. When a problem starts to overshadow your thoughts, bring the matter to me. I mean, frick, I just recently listened to this amazing gentleman. I believe he guessed it on a Tucker episode. I believe it was on a live today, actually. And he created an app, supposedly, that helps us sit in silence, I guess. And the power of that, it's like the devil and evil has fought too hard to distract us and demand our attention to where we're boom, boom, boom. We're not sitting in silence and connecting to our loving Creator and the blessings that actually come from that. He speaks out on it through personal testimony, through others that have utilized this to their benefit, and literally miracles have taken place, folks. Undeniable miracles. Talk with me about it and look at it in the light of my presence. This puts some much needed space between you and your concerns, maybe giving us more clarity, enabling you to see from my perspective, which is better than ours. You will be surprised at the results. Sometimes you may even laugh at yourself for being so serious about something so insignificant. There's nothing insignificant about this situation and the things we're covering on right now. I'm actually going to put a star on this one because I want to dive into this and ponder on it more. You will always face trouble in this life, but more importantly, you will always have me with you if we choose to, helping you to handle whatever you encounter. Approach problems with a light touch, viewing them in my revealing light. I pray I get better at that, to where I can implement that more so effectively each and every day I am gifted in this life. Now, we actually have 2 biblical scripture references. Let's dive into them real quick. We have Psalm 89:15. It reads, "Happy are those who hear the joyful call to worship." Should be joyful. It's not a chore. for they will walk in the light of your presence, Lord. Gifts we can't even fathom. Next is John 16:33. And it reads, I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Peace amongst war. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. We can be walking in a place 100% of victory right here. What a gift. We are so blessed. Even amongst this crazy time. We are so freaking blessed. Never has it been, have we had such comfort, such luxuries. And that, my friends, I believe is what's led to our detriment, because we've been led astray with our comforts and luxuries. We've been attacked just constantly by the devil, by evil in this existence. I pray we gain the discernment to not be deceived by the deceiver and destroyer in this existence. As Jesus said, the God of this world, the prince of this world. He can perform miracles. Let's not fall prey to his tactics. He wants control. He wants to penetrate in all these. Like, our loving God is everything free agency. That should help us gain the distinction between the two and who our true loving creator is, and obtain true peace in that. I'm so grateful for you all. Thank you so much for all your support. Let's help magnify this episode and all of Janet's hard work. She paid the ultimate sacrifice for us all. I'm so grateful. Help me fill her shoes by breaking the algorithms, getting the message out, but also injecting your input, whether it be in the comments, whether it be reaching out to me personally at unmuzzledchat@gmail.com, or even guesting on the podcast. We need more people to come forward and bear their testimonies. Could you imagine if you saved one soul, the glory to be had? Not even glory in the sense we mortally would put like value on, and just the majesty, the happy. I believe that would be worth more than 100 lives lived in this existence to save one soul. About to hit that 2-hour mark. We got to cut this short. I don't want to leave you because I freaking love you guys. I'm so passionate for this. So let's continue to grow the momentum. Check out our affiliations. There are preparations. We have darker days ahead. I know that, especially since too many of us aren't really taking our role serious as of yet. We're slowly getting there. We're building momentum. We are having an impact, and I'm so grateful for that. As small as it may seem, we're having an impact. That's freaking fantastic. Each day we could, hold ourselves a little more accountable and magnify that impact. If you feel so called to bless this platform, please throw whatever funds you're able to directly in the description below to a Venmo, Cash App, GoFundMe, or even buy me a coffee. Every dollar helps. Help us. Help you. Help magnify what we are able to do and beating back the algorithms by bringing in more, like a tech guru. I need a tech guru. Bless this platform with that. Help us secure the future together. That being said, can't wait for next time. Until then, take care of yourself. Love ya.